cause someone to go the wrong way. So yeah, it stems from anxiety, paranoia. They can go all the way up to different levels of mental health, because you're going through traumatic events every day. Like every single day, you're going through a traumatic event. Most of the people I know, most of my friends and the people I grew up with, have probably been through 50 traumatic events in their whole life, like where they've got into a situation where their life's actually in danger, like where people have knives and they're fighting for their life. Like most of the people around me have been through that, but they've never ever seek help because they don't feel like there's anything wrong with them. It's just so normal. They've lived that life. But some people are strong and they're able to conceal it and deal with it in different ways, self-medicate and stuff like that. And some people can't. And that's where you see a lot of people going into being sectioned, or as they get older, the trauma's creeping back up on them, and it's kind of hard for them to deal with.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I would imagine that there's some parents, some mothers that don't even realize their children going through all of that.
No, because they don't. But the thing is, they don't even realize they're going through it themselves. It's hard to see. It's just like it becomes a way of living, but that way of living is actually a mental health, in it. But they can't. It's hard to identify, especially if the person is a person that's strong and they don't really show too much emotion and they just get on with it. It's hard to identify that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. Anybody got anything they want to say before I just show you all the You Good app? I showed some of you last week, but anybody got anything they want to say? They put their hand up. Otherwise, I'm going to show you the app. And okay, I think Shirley again. Shirley, I'm mute, Shirley. Yeah, you met.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I did want to ask ages ago about. I had a situation today where somebody called me and said that they were in a situation with they're being mentally abused by somebody who's got mental health, and obviously they're on lockdown with them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They were crying out for help, and I was trying to make some sort of course for them and that, but there didn't seem like there was any services out there to help the victim of, somebody experiencing, somebody with mental health. There didn't seem like there was any help. So I don't know if any of you guys, maybe Yemi or is it what's her name? Marcus. Marcus. Yeah. I don't know if anybody out there knows of any kind of organisation or support organisation that can speak to somebody over the phone or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think if
I'm just putting it out.
If they let me know, I will pass that on to Shirley, that information on to Shirley. So Shirley, I will contact you. But also they could go on the You Good app. So it's quite a good example, good time to go into it, because Yemi is one of the therapists on the You Good app. There is also another psychotherapist on there. Joyce, there's also some counsellors on there, and there's also an educationalist on there. So let me just share it. And okay. Got that a moment. Mimi, if you're still there, I'm just trying to think where I put this. I thought I put it. Why can't I? You Good up. So I'm just going to look for that.
While you're looking for that, can I just say something?
I found it. Yeah. Go on. I'm just going to put it up.
I just want to say to Vils, I just want to say, listen, man, that's fantastic stuff you said there, because we come across people who have actually been through the system so much that even counseling isn't working for some more hardcore people, and it's actually causing more damage to some. But I would like to encourage other young people to come on the platforms like this, where you can actually share your views and ideas and opinions, so that parents and older ones here can actually understand the mentality of what's happening out there from a younger point of view. So that's fantastic stuff coming up on your bills, man, and that's respect for that. Thanks.
Great.
No, definitely. It's all right, man. Of course. But you know what it said? Just to say one thing, is a lot of young kids that are still in it and are still going through the motions and trying to get out of it. They're not comfortable with themselves speaking to adults or speaking to people that are not really from it like that. It's kind of a weak thing. Like these kind of someone that's still in the streets wouldn't want to come on this because it's like they may deem it as being weak or deem it as being uncool. So it's just about finding a way that they're comfortable to even speak in it. It's just finding those ways.
I think, Bill, you might be the link. You never know, because my son said that as well. How are you going to get like 14 to 17-year-olds to come on, or even younger? Those are the ones you need to get on Zoom. They ain't got Zoom on their phone, but somehow we have to get them to download Zoom so that they can come on. Even if they come on and they listen, there'll come a point at which they will be able to say something. At first, just getting them on and then getting them to listen, and then maybe, do it in stages.
Of course.
But excellent. So, right. So this is the YouGood web app in the background. It's just YouGood, all lowercase, .uk. It says a space to talk when no one gets it. Let's talk. So if you just click on the Let's Talk, it will take you through the therapy space to talk. A therapy bot, but it's got a human element, because at the end of it there is a human that actually speaks. If they press that they want to speak to a therapist, there's a human element. So I did go through some of this last week, but I'm going to go on to another bit. So you can chat with a therapist, learn more about trauma. There's some welcome videos, and if it's a life or death situation, as I said last week, don't use this. Just go straight through to the Samaritans, the numbers on there, or call the police. But let's learn about trauma, because we've been talking about mental health. And as I said, a lot of us have been traumatized, even though we may not realize it. And that's what Vil said as well. What's a traumatic event? An incident which causes physical, emotional, spiritual, or psychological harm. So the story of Blue Story, but we're not going to look at that today, but that's on there I think that will speak to a lot of people's situations when they hear about some of the things that are on there. So I'm waiting for something else to come up, which we're going to have a look at just quickly. Yeah, talking therapy would have helped. So, because what you said, Marcus, sometimes counseling doesn't help. Sometimes it could be therapy, but sometimes counseling can help. If you get the right counselor, as with anything, if you get people that are not doing it just because it's a job, if they're doing it because their heart and their soul is in it and they genuinely want to help people, it can work. So I'm waiting for one of these things to come up. Right, learn more about psychodynamic therapy. Watch a video about trauma. Yeah, how to overcome trauma. So what we didn't talk about as well is that trauma can come from so many different things. Yeah. So we'll just watch that a little bit.
Do you sometimes find the fear of what could happen is making nothing happen in your life? If so, I want to come.
This is what I want.
Psychological trauma Psychological trauma can be defined as a negative event so overwhelming that we cannot properly understand, process, or move on from it. But, and this is the devilish aspect of it, nor can we properly remember it or reflect upon its nature and its effects on us. It is lodged within us, but remains hidden from us, making its presence known only via symptoms and pains, altering our sense of reality without alerting us to its devilish subterranean operations. Unsurprisingly, a lot of psychological trauma happens in childhood. Children are especially vulnerable to being traumatized because they are congenitally unable to understand themselves or the world very well, and have to rely to an uncommon degree on parents who are frequently less than mature, patient, or balanced. A child may, for example, be traumatized by a parent who, through no particular fault of their own, becomes heavily depressed shortly after childbirth. Or a child may be traumatized through exposure to a parent's titanic rage or violence. Or, because the widest category of psychological trauma is also the most innocuous, a child may be traumatized by what psychologists term neglect, which might mean that at a critical age, between 0 and 5, and especially in the first 18 months, it was not properly cherished, soothed, comforted, and, to use a large but valuable word, loved. The leading symptom of having been traumatized is fear. Traumatized people are, above anything else, scared. They're scared of getting close to others, of being abandoned, of being humiliated and disgraced, of falling ill, probably of sex, of traveling, of their bodies, of parties, of key bits of their minds, and in the broad sense, of the world. The legacy of having been traumatized is dread, an unnameable, forgotten, unconscious memory of terror and fear projected outwards into the future. As the psychoanalyst Donald Winnicott wisely observed, the catastrophe that the traumatized fear will happen has already happened. That is why, in order to find out the gist of what might have occurred to us long ago, we should ask ourselves not so much about the past, we won't directly be able to remember it anyway, but about what we're afraid will happen to us going forward. Our apprehension holds the best clues as to our history. Crucially and surprisingly, it can take a very long while before traumatized people even realize they are such a thing. A leading consequence of trauma is to have no active...
All right, I'm gonna stop sharing there, because you could always go on the YouGood.uk app yourself and see that story and see Blue Sky, and see and go all the way through. So, you know, there is something there to help young people. As you said, sometimes they won't want to share. They'll see it as weak, it's uncool. But if they go on the YouGood.uk web app, they're not actually speaking face to face. It's like a chat, you know, like you do on your phone. They could actually, and they don't have to give their name, because it's all kind of like a set of numbers and what have you. They could put up whatever's going on in their mind, you know, that they want some help with. And there's a therapist on each day. So if they're not on at the time that they've put in whatever their issue is, if they leave their email address, a therapist will get back to them. So we're fully committed to being on there every day. So somebody will get back to them. And that's a way, and it's free. So young people don't have to pay for it. But that's our way of giving back to community, giving back to society. We actually want you to get healing of any emotional, psychological, you know, whatever problems there is, because of things that you've seen. As you said, some people have been through 50 instances or events when they could have died, and their parents don't even know. We think you're just going out and you're coming back. We don't know what you've encountered trying to get back home. But we really want to keep all our children safe, and that's why we've kind of developed this app that's there, available, free. We just need young people to know about it. And also, I believe God wants us to get to a place of wholeness. And in order to do that as a community, we need to heal. In order to go forward, we need to heal. It's like trying to go forward and you've got a ball and chain on your ankle. It's slowing you down. In fact, it's stopping you from moving. But we want to cut loose that ball and chain, so that you can be, so that you can thrive and be an effective member of society. And above all, and I think I've said this to Vils as well, a parent's worst nightmare is to lose a child. So any which way we can help you, let us help you. Okay, just going to open it up if anybody's got anything to say before we round up. Okay, all right. Now, I think I did it. I think that went around and said that there's some giveaways. There is some giveaways actually. If there's any young people on, I would like them to answer a question. Everyone that sends me an email, and I will send them something. But in particular for young children, those that are sort of like between 10 and 13, what will they do to maintain their mental health? And the best answers will get a second prize. But everyone that gives me their details, I'd like to send you a book. I'd like you to think about what you're doing when you're on the roads. I'd like you to think about the impact of your behavior on your parents, because very often I think you think that they don't know what you're doing. Some of them have an inkling, some of them have an idea, they just don't know how to reach you. So I think what needs to happen is that we need to be a bit more integrated so that we're able to reach and we're able to help. And so that's all I really wanted to say. Is anybody would like to say anything else? I think we're just going to wrap up there. And I want to thank you all for coming. Today has been, it's been really fantastic today. Had a lot of people there. Can everyone read?
Can I throw something in there again?
Yes.
I'm just full of beans when it comes to talking, you know. Sorry. I just want to say also, people shouldn't feel bad about the fact that they've got a youngster who's acting up. For example, like I said, I came from a really bad background, and I made better of my life. But that's only because I joined the army. But when I came to the UK, I came to the UK when they used to have the North Peckham estate and the Acorn estate in Peckham, and I lived on both. And my son was going to an all-boys Catholic school, and we had no idea that a lot of the gang members from the area at the time were coming from that Catholic school. So when people think, you know, you're from a good Christian background, that everything's fine and it's always the bad kids, it's always those who are hanging around doing that. No, it's everyone. The involvement comes from curiosity. And Vils actually said something there earlier. It's like different levels, and he's absolutely right, because you got curiosity, then you got some who want, like I said, when my son, when he was going to school, his best friend carried a knife because he didn't want to be stabbed. He ended up being stabbed by his own knife. And I'm thinking, you know what? My son was a martial artist in that sense at that time, because I taught him everything I learned in the military. So if anybody came at him, weapon or no weapon, he disarms them. He doesn't pick up the weapon. He deals with it personally. But then I said to him, go to the head teacher and tell him you did this, and then wait for me to come collect you, and we'll deal with it later. And that gave him empowerment. But a lot of kids don't have that. They feel like they have to defend themselves. They feel like, oh, their friend was stabbed, and they have to retaliate. So again, like what Bill said, there's different levels of involvement, why they get involved in gangs. With my son, there was no reason whatsoever other than his daddy used to hang out with people, so he wanted to experience it for himself, not knowing that that's a lifestyle I left many years before. And I was actually trying to help his friends when he was trying to get involved with other friends, and it caused a little bit of a conflict at home. But that's why as you asked earlier, Shirley was asking what type of people do I just focus on those that I know I can help from personal experience, rather than trying to help somebody that I don't know anything about. Background or understanding. It's like some of the counselors out there, Margaret, you're absolutely right. Counseling is fantastic if you can get the person to talk.
Yeah.
But some people, you go there, and I went in talking to the head teacher and the dean about my son, and they weren't counseling, they were talking at him. And I had to actually put the guy straight and say, listen, my friend, don't talk to my son like that. But he didn't know I was the father because, you know, obviously he's Jamaican, my son, and my skin is white. So he thought I was just some uncle that came along for the chat. And I was like, that's my son, pal. I said, the reason the children in this school are this way is because the way you talk to them, you talk at them, you don't even hear them out. You need to hear them out. Why are they doing what they're doing? What is that fear? Why are they reacting in a certain way? And then you actually get to the root cause of it, that it's not even the gangs causing it. It could be at school, because that's the biggest recruitment ground right now for, well, not anymore because of COVID, everybody's at home. But it's in environments that we don't even look. So as parents, we need to be more mindful of our youngsters and look at the signs. In America, for example, is wearing blue bandanas or red bandanas. It's the way you tie your shoes. It's the way over here, the way they do their tie, their school tie, the way they do their hair, like in, for example, the Hackney girls, they do their hair in a certain way. Whereas the Peckham boys, they did the uniform, they wore it completely different than any other school. So they would be able to identify themselves, whereas you as a grown-up thinking, oh, they're just wearing it because it's fashion. It's not fashion, it's an icon, it's a way of identification. And you have to be able to pick up on that. So when young people come on to talk about it, we can then learn from that. And then we can make adult decisions that they can't make, but we then make adult decisions that can help them and assist them through whatever they're going through.
Excellent.
So I just wanted to add that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to everyone that has come on tonight. It has been really fruitful, very interesting. I like the dynamics. So I'll let you know when the next one is, but thank you and God bless you. And good night. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care.
Good
Take care.
night. Thank you, Pastor Margaret. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Vils, were you saying something?
No, just saying take care. Take care.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye, bye, Mimi. Bye, Rashadat. Bye, okay, I think Rashida, are you still on? Rashida, is it Rashida? Okay, right. Okay, so I can't do that. Okay. No, it says won't be able to. Rashida, are you going off? Because it says this. Mimi, are you still on? Okay. It says if you remove. It says look. Okay, I'll just take that off. Okay. It's okay. Let's stop.